Okay, Jet fans, Darrell Revis.
Is off the board.
The New York Jets select
Mekhi Becton, Louisville.
You fired up to be a New York Jet?
Pressure just makes you go a little more. I kind of like pressure a little bit.
The New York Jets select.
Welcome to another episode of NFL Draft Preview presented by Verizon with The Athletic's Dane Brugler. Dane, we're talking about the offensive tackles. And up top, a lot of people have Penei Sewell out of Oregon, followed by Rashawn Slater. Some have that flipped. So which is it for you? Who do you have one, and who do you have two?
Yeah, I think it's Sewell, Slater in that order. With Penei Sewell, it's his big man balance, his mobility, the overall instincts that he brings at the position, that, especially considering he's not going to turn 21 years old until October. So it doesn't happen often where, you know, one of the best players in the draft is also the youngest, but that's the case here. He was born a few weeks before Tom Brady threw his first NFL pass. His head coach at Oregon, Mario Cristobal, has said he thinks Sewell's the best player he's ever been around. So, and he's been around a lot of good football players. And so the scary thing is you figure he's only going to get better with that type of ceiling. So to me, Sewell is the top tackle this year. And then behind him is Rashawn Slater, a really interesting player, another opt-out like Sewell. Started as a true freshman at Northwestern, a program not known for starting a lot of freshmen. 2 years on the right side, 1 year on the left side. And it was really his performance last year against Chase Young that got the attention of NFL teams and, you know, kind of announced himself as a high-level player. Very technically proficient. I love how he's so physical with his hands and he plays out in front. So he attacks edge rushers before they can break out a move, before they can counter. I think that's what he does best. His dad, Reggie Slater, played in the NBA for like 8 seasons. So Rashawn, I definitely got some of those big man genes.
So let's say the Jets are on the board at 23 and they'd like to go in the direction of a tackle. Who are two players that you think could be available and would make sense for the Jets?
Two guys that could be available, and maybe they're gone by 23, but if they are, then they could still be available. And that's Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech and Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. Darrisaw, inside-outside zone scheme in college, 35 starts at left tackle, very efficient with his movements. He's a bulldozer in the run game. He can create movement. He can seal. He can widen run lanes. And then Tevin Jenkins, 4-year starter at Oklahoma State. Experience both guard and tackle, very uniquely powerful. You know, some guys, they'll throw up the bar 30 times in the weight room. They've got that weight room strength. Jenkins, he's uniquely powerful with his ability to control the point of attack. He has a chance to go for the kill shot. He takes it. He will not pass. And he'll send defenders into tomorrow when he gets that upper hand.
So let's say the Jets don't go at tackle at 23 and they're on the board at 34 and they're like, this is the time to do it. Give us two players who you think could be on the board then and fit the Jets.
Texas' Sam Cosmi and Notre Dame's Liam Eichenberg. Cosmi, really a self-made player in a lot of ways. He's a son of Romanian immigrants. Didn't start playing offensive line until a sophomore year in high school, and he really developed himself. 34 games started at Texas, first on the right side, then on the left side. Does a great job sitting in his stance, leveraging power, uses that knee bend to strengthen his anchor. In pass pro, just a guy that keeps his feet, his hands, his eyes all on the same page, so he can stay square to defenders. You look at his pro day results, man, he blew it up. Really, really impressive workout. 4.8 in the 40-yard dash. Just a quality player who I think tests well, he plays well. He projects as a starter of this league. And then Liam Eichenberg, not as physically gifted maybe as Cosmi or even some of the past offensive tackles we've seen come out of Notre Dame. You know, Ronnie Stanley, Mike McGlinchey, who, you know, this staff, they coached, or some from this staff coached over in San Francisco. But Eichenberg, just a rock-solid player, fundamentally sound. He works hard to stay centered to his blocks, strong punch, plays under control. He's to cut down on the penalties. Little excessive penalties than I expected for a senior with his heavy experience, but just a consistent player due to his technique, due to his instincts. I think he'd be a solid B-level starter in the league.
All right, let's wrap up the tackle talk with a diamond-in-the-rough day 3 player that you think deserves a little more attention.
A player I really like out of the MAC, Tommy Doyle out of Miami, Ohio. Grew up in Minnesota, playing, what else? Hockey. That was his sport. And he was a big-time hockey player. But in high school, he outgrew the sport, started playing football, He was a linebacker at first. Then they moved into defensive line, played a little bit of offensive line. He goes to Miami of Ohio. They put him on the offensive line, and they just groomed him from there. Only 30 career starts. I say only. That's a good amount of starts, but unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see him too much this past year because of the shortened season. A little too segmented in his movements. He's still figuring out, pad level and body posture, things like that. And that could be an issue at times because he is so tall, but he's tenacious, and he's got that raw athleticism that you want to develop. So he's a quality mid to late round option that you could bring in, develop, and you might have a long-term starter on your hands eventually.
There you have it, the offensive tackles in the 2021 draft class. That was another episode of NFL Draft Preview with the Athletics' Dane Brugler, presented by Verizon. Dane, thanks a lot, and talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, Ethan.